This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Hundreds of people remain displaced a week after the remnants of a typhoon wreaked havoc on some of Alaska's most remote and vulnerable communities. Reporter Emily Schwing has this update.
One of the hardest hit communities is Kipnuk, a village that sits in the heart of Alaska's Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Last week, tribal administrator Tristan Carl made the tough decision to mass evacuate his friends and family. Now he says they have several needs, including housing, clothing, and transportation, as well as access to foods that aren't found in conventional grocery stores.
I know we're going to be missing some our subsistence food. Hopefully some locals will be able to drop some off or even invite some families for some. And that's how we lived off for many centuries.
James Amick is also from Kipnuk. He, his friends, and family are still reeling from the storm.
It's going to be in our minds for a while, But the way I think we can get through that is if we talk to our behavioral health and just get everything off of our mind. I think that would help us.
Alaska's governor declared a state disaster and has requested a federal disaster declaration from the Trump administration. Alaska's congressional delegation has also penned a letter to the president in support of a federal disaster declaration. In Anchorage, I'm Emily Schwing.
Meanwhile, when it comes to Native co-management of fish and wildlife in the state, engagement and unity are key. That was the message at a panel about subsistence at the recent Alaska Federation of Natives convention. Ayolna Naiden with the Alaska Desk has more.
Representatives from several Alaska Native organizations called for a unified approach alongside government agencies to manage wildlife and fish when they met last week. Clinton Cook Sr. is the Craig Tribal Association president. He emphasized the importance of prioritizing Alaska Native voices when making decisions about wildlife.
Our people have always managed our lands. We know where the salmon run. We know where the deer are. We know when the clams are safe.
Cook says the first step is engagement. He encourages tribal residents to participate in advisory councils for both federal and state regulatory agencies.
So you have a voice in what happens in your region. That's huge.
A push for resource development in several Alaska regions has been met with opposition from some tribal groups. Karen Linnell is the executive director of the Atna Intertribal Resource Commission. She called for a composed and unified response in the middle of a quickly changing political environment.
With the current administration, the next couple years, we need to try to hold our ground with where we're at and not lose.
Representatives talked about funding challenges, lack of guidelines, and the need to re-educate regional directors when they change with the new administrations. Linnell says that one strategy that has made the difference over the years is collaborating with neighboring regions and figuring out how to continue practicing traditional ways of life without harming resources other regions rely on.
Wait a minute, you do duck calls, right? When you're out duck hunting, we call a moose in. So why is it different? When we started to support each other, we started to see change.
Promoting change also requires research, Linnell says. She hopes that more tribal organizations will have capacity to monitor wildlife and fish and collect their own data that they can trust. In Anchorage, I am Ayolna Naiden.
And I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Kawanak Broadcast Corporation with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Support by Drummond Woodsum, a full-service law firm whose nationally recognized tribal nations practice provides services to tribal nations and their enterprises and to companies that do business with tribes across the country. More at dwmlaw.com. Support for law and justice-related programming provided by Hobbs, Strauss, Dean & Walker, LLP, a national law firm dedicated to promoting and defending tribal rights for over 40 years. More information available at hobbsstrauss.com.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.